Blow wins APC Guba primaries, and crisis hits APC over party's Guba candidates. Still on Edo State, APC Guba aspirant Edahosa described primaries as selection. On Benue State, government ordered State Council chairman to vacate office immediately. And then we look at Labour Party. Peter Obi says he has not left the party. And on governance, opinion activists berate plan to change system of government. Do not go away. When we come back from this break, I'll introduce you to my guest and we'll dive right into the show.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the dumb thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the dumb thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the dumb thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people
all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back. It's still open air on Atlantic Television Network. With me on the show today is Barrister Asim Adams. Barrister Asim is a legal practitioner and political analyst. Barrister, it's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Always a pleasure to. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning.
And I also have Suzy Ikagu. Suzy Ikagu is a political analyst. Mr. Suzy, it's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here too. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you.
On to the stories. Ahead of the September 21 Edo State governorship election, the factional candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Philip Shaibu, has vowed to carry on with his preparations, even if doing so would cause his impeachment by the State House of Assembly. Shaibu, the deputy governor of the state, said this at a press conference in Abuja on Saturday. On Thursday, the returning officer in the PDP governorship primary and governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, announced Asue Yodalu as the winner of the delegate election, having polled a total of 577 votes. However, in the primaries that took place at the Benin residence of the deputy governor, the returning officer, Batlomi Moses, declared Shaibu the winner, saying he won with over 300 votes. He said, "Even as we speak, my team has been calling me that, look at what these people are doing. They are saying they are going to impeach you, that you have gotten too far. They are threatening to impeach me." And I said, well, if fighting for my rights and all of us collectively triggers my impeachment, so be it. Shaibu, who described Yodalu as my far elder brother, however, urged the PDP to know that the lawyer-turned-politician does not have what it takes to win the poll. Now, Shaibu is saying there are threats around his impeachment as the deputy governor because of his interest and apparently the ongoing battle between him and the governor of Edo State, as it were. Barrister Asim, you are from Edo State and you have been a major stakeholder in the political terrain of Edo State. What do you think? Do you think this might actually lead to the removal of Shaibu as the deputy governor?
Thank you very much. I don't think it will lead, or maybe it will occasion one of the reasons why a deputy governor, a sitting deputy governor, can be removed. Under our constitution, it is very, very clear how, when, and why a sitting governor, a deputy governor, even the Speaker of the House of Assembly, could be taken out of office. One of them is by resignation, the other one is by death, and the third one is by impeachment. Now, under impeachment, which is our profiling thought this morning, the Constitution talks about when a governor commits gross misconduct. Gross misconduct. And when we check the meaning of gross misconduct in our local dictionary, maybe the elementary dictionary, misconduct will tell you something that has gone out of control, and when it becomes gross, it becomes irreparable. And that has to do with embezzlement, dereliction of duty, incompetence, etc., as the case may be. Contesting in the primaries, in my own opinion, does not form gross misconduct that will warrant any House of Assembly at all to remove the deputy governor from office. Like Shaibu rightly said, it is his constitutional right to vote and be voted for. And that particular right is guaranteed by the Constitution and is allotted to Shaibu Philip. So nobody can, based on that, want to take him out. So I don't know where they're going to come from. And I know why he's exercising this kind of fears. I have been in the corridors of the legislature for a period of time also, and I have seen how the hobnob connive and criminally collude, with the executive arm of government in Nigeria here. In Nigeria here, removal of an enemy deputy governor is just like a beer parlor affair. The governor can summon the speaker and say, look, I'm tired of this young man that is calling himself a deputy governor. I don't really understand. Please take him out. And within 24 hours, the speaker working in cahoots with the governor will begin to bring in some, concussions. And letters are served, and before you know, within 24 hours, he's removed from office. We have seen that happen. We've seen that happen in Ekiti State, in Plateau State, and some other states in Nigeria here, where about 8 people will sit and say, don't remove a governor. Even 5 can remove a governor, as the case may be, now in Nigeria. So that is where he's exercising his fear. But even at that, the courts have said that a governor cannot be removed by that number of people. It is as case may be. You need 2/3, to take out that governor, the deputy governor. So, but politically, they can, kind of make it and concoct it, choreograph it, and take Shaibu out. But even as it is, Shaibu has some months left in his tenure to exit the office of deputy governor of Edo State. But he has made a very loud statement. In due course, we're going to discuss that. I will go further when I have the opportunity again to talk on why I feel Shaibu has made a very vibrant, statement. And he has said, I will not, even if it means me being impeached. And that is the stoicism that, begets people from that particular area of our state.
Okay.
So that is, let me rest it at this point in time for now.
Mr. Suzy.
Yes.
Now, the whole drama playing out in Edo State. Shaibu is saying it might cost him his position as the deputy governor. Now, Mr. Barrister Sim has also, laid the background to what the powers of the legislature and how it can be used against the deputy governor. Do you think, knowing the Edo State political terrain and how it can be met with fierce opposition, do you think it's something that can fly in Edo State?
Well, you are raising 2 questions, and I think the background to which this particular issue is coming out is one too many, that we have a system that is known to be political or politics, so to say, and we are talking about party primaries. And then in the party primaries, we are having a metamorphosis of different factions and all of that. And then one of the contestants is now talking about the issue concerning his removal from the office, raising an eyebrow, which is actually his own right and all of that. In that assumption, I want to say that it is even an error, whether it is in Edo, whether it is in Katsina, whether it is in Rivers State, for us to actually, as a member of a political party, with a consensus addendum, one mind, with an aims and objective, to have this kind of conflict, when it is not yet a general election, where we are contesting with another political party, it is an error. So why do I say that? Because the most important thing is that it is from this primary we are going to have those that will be saddled with the responsibility of manning the issues in the states, resolving issues and providing leadership in the state. But where we begin to have an anomaly to this extent, what would become the whole system? But I thank God that we run a system where the law is very sacrosanct. And as we go on in this discussion, we discover that by the exploration of the Constitution of Nigeria, we discover that Nigeria as a state is not running in an isolation state. It runs with the provisions of the Constitution. So at the end of the day, this matter will definitely go to court. He mentioned the issue of him not being removed in the office, and come back to say that the sociology of political witch hunting is one thing that is very prominent in Nigerian politics, not only in Nigeria, in Africa. And to that extent, that's the reason why we are always getting it wrong. So whether it is in Edo, whether it is in Katsina, whether it is in Rivers State, is it actually worth it that will come up with an election, primary election at that level, and then we'll begin to have factionalization, where we'll have different governorship candidates in one political party with one ideology? Is an error.
Isn't that a function of interest and people with different interests not stepping down for the greater good, perhaps the overriding interest?
I will even step up to say that, yes, it is interest, but it's what Karl Marx will call the class struggle. It has come into the polity, not even in the labor market, but now it has come into the politics, where we are supposed to have morality running, in our mind. Because if you want to do it, as Aristotle will say, like duty, you do not have any other interest apart from providing service to the people. Suppose these men are not getting so much from the particular responsibility, you will not see anybody want to die for these things. But because of the major commercial profit and interest that is in it, everybody wants to own a property. The mentality of ownership or property ownership has also come into the politics. That is the reason why you see people who want to die there in the name of wanting to become whatever you want to become, whether a governor, a president, or local government chairman. So that particular interest we mentioned, Karl Marx call it the struggle for, what is it called? I just forgot it now, sorry. So that is it. It's a very serious thing that we must work in our favor to make sure that it does not happen.
Well, with Godfatherism, but Barrister Sims, do you think that this concern that Suzy Kabu just raised, do you think Godfatherism in Nigeria can actually let that fly?
You see, let me tell you, I have said it before now, and I'll continue to reiterate. When you talk about Godfatherism, it talks about a dual personality or dual relationship, symbiotic relationship. A godfather and a godson. If there's no godson, there will be no godfather. So you find out that invariably in Nigerian political system firmament, the issue of godfatherism is not something you can just eliminate. I don't know how people are going to do it. I don't know. When I see say we have killed godfatherism in Edo State, or want to kill godfatherism in Rivers State, it's just a while. It's just like hitting a snake, the middle part of it without, crushing the head to death and burning it. Before you know what's going on, we forget about the flow that happened, and the issue of godfatherism begin to rear its ugly head again. This same Edo State was a state that we were informed that they have killed godfatherism when Adams Oshomole, was supposedly, said he was disgraced, when Obaseki was seeking his second term in office. Now, what now happened? He had his way, he became governor. The same Obaseki that was fighting godfatherism now came up and said, and he has banded this person to say, this is a man I want to succeed me. As why Ighodaro was not known to the political firmament of Edo State. From nowhere, the man was not even he's not even a politician. Even when they approached him, he said he's not interested in politics. But the governor kept talking to him to say, come, you are the right person that will take over from me. And we are seeing what is happening today. Is that not godfatherism? For you to bring somebody from Lagos, a man that does not even speak the Edo language and dialect like myself, although that is not an excuse, but we are forgiving him. He's our son. But what I'm trying to say is that you can see that if I ask people, a lot of people don't know him as somebody from Edo State if you are not told. People even think that this Igodaro is the pastor Igodaro. You understand? Because the pastor Igodaro, that is the pastor Igodaro that is more popular. He is popular. He aligns with his state of Edo as case may be. It takes people to not extricate and say, no, they are not the same. The pastor is different from this other young man. So that tells you how remote the man was to power and politics. But you went to bring him, as case may be. Now, under the PDP, whatever, look at what happened. A man has been complaining right from time that he's been intimidated. I gave a chronicle of what happened, sometime when Shaibu, the hotel was supposed to declare its intention known, had to return money. It was public knowledge. The hotel returned the money paid, 24 hours to that particular launching of his, bishop to become governor of Edo State. The hotel returned the money to him and said, look, the pressure from government is too much on us. They said, we should not accept this money from you. Which made sure to go and hurriedly, get a place to do that, launching. Now, Godfatherism, even in APC, they said that Osomali that people said they have killed a godfather as a godfather in Edo State, still came about now, rearing his ugly head in the APC firmament. If you go to APC, I know that the candidates that came, Dennis Dawusa, is a godson of Osomali. And it's the same person that is creating, this problem again for APC. I say, I will not agree. I will go to court. I will go to any letter to, get whatever the case may be. So it's difficult to kill godfatherism in Nigeria. We should not deceive ourselves. The reason why is this. Let me tell you why. If I want to contest, I have contested. I told you before. I have contested. And I told you that when you come in there with your bag full of money, what will not happen is this. People will look at you and say, where are you coming from? Who is your sponsor? That is the question the elders will ask you. Please, who is your sponsor in the party and this position you want to go? If you don't have a sponsor, it's either you buy a sponsor or you look for a sponsor that will sponsor you as your godfather in Nigeria political firmament. So we cannot rule it out. And he's playing his head, unfortunately again, in Edo State. But this ought not to be. This ought not to be. The ideal situation is that everybody and anybody I talk can come out, contest an election of your position of your choice, and let the people decide, the masses decide. Unfortunately, the masses don't decide in it. Electors don't decide who becomes their governor, who becomes their candidate. Imagine 577 people, came as delegates in a state of about 3.something million people. 577 came and voted for a particular candidate. They call them delegates, as case may be. The 577, they were put in one hotel room. They slept there for 24 hours. They were fed by the particular candidate. We saw this happen. They were driven. Even the directives they gave was that they are going to, take all the delegates at the same time from that hotel room down to Ogbe Stadium where they were to contest, do that primaries as case may be. And you tell me there's no godfather. Why should you camp all the delegates in one hotel? And you think that they can vote for different candidates of their choice? And you not provide buses. I am telling you the itinerary. I have the itinerary that I'll give to you. That is, they said that all delegates from this hotel, they move them with, coastal buses, 1, 2, 3 numbered, that will be taken to Ogbe Stadium to double it. I was wondering, I said, why? Delegates must not be camped in one particular place. Why will you do that? Why will a candidate say this was going to happen? I was so shocked, to buy Promaros. But that is what has become of the elections in Nigeria. It's an aberration, as case may be. Right. So let us see how it goes.
Okay, Mr. Susie, you have something to say.
Yes, I quite agree with you, because the issue of godfatherism in Nigeria, in Nigerian politics, has been a long time thing, and we kept brandishing it with different kind of linguistics, grammatical, whatever we are talking about. And then let me also say that it will be a waste energy for anybody to even think that godfatherism will actually leave the system, mostly when it comes to politics. Because if you go to all the states, you discover that there is no one candidate that will emerge without somebody, having hands in his own emergence and all of that. If you discover the election between Hillary Clinton and Trump, when
the president, as at that time, Obama, was supposed to, talk about the person of Hillary Clinton, people actually raised this question, that even in US also, we also have godfatherism. Because for Hillary Clinton to be contesting and have a campaign committee and group, and then you have a sitting president coming to speak for him, it then means the president actually have hands in this person. So it is in our local regions and all of that, local politics. Even in our communities, right now, if anybody wants to become a monarch, you discover that there are those who actually want that monarch to be and those who don't want that person to be. So godfatherism runs through every system of our system. That is how it is. So to this extent, I believe that the complaint about godfatherism, whether it's going to work or not going to work, will not be a thing that we want to concentrate upon. But we look at reorientation and re-engineering of the minds of the people who are actually involved in this polity. That is what it should be.
Right. The immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association,
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains through the Sahara. Stories on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
You're welcome back. The immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, SAN, has been declared winner of the Labour Party governorship primary election in Edo State. After the exercise held on Friday afternoon in Benin City, the state capital, the Electoral Committee declared Akpata as the winner, having scored the highest number of votes. Now, Barrister Sims, Akpata is a known figure already in Nigerian Bar Association, rose to prominence through that. And do you think Akpata has the influence to fight the opposition in APC and PDP? What are the chances of Labour Party emerging as winner in the upcoming elections in Edo State?
Thank you. See, Akpata, Olumide Akpata, like I described him the last time and others, is part of the Galacticos. You know, the stars. That is, we have seen that all the political parties in Edo State presently possess and have in their fold, you know, wonderful people. And this is the first time that if elections take place and any of these candidates are voted in or is voted in, Edo will be having a philosopher king as a governor. And we hope that they will deliver, as the case may be. Now, coming down to Akpata, yes, is known, you know, mostly because he was president of the Nigerian Bar Association, the immediate past president of the NBA, and that gave him a national clout to an extent. But vividly, it's a clout that is given, or that the elites mostly know about. The voting populace, which is about 30% or 40% or even more, you know, in Edo State, are mostly illiterates. You know, I'm not trying to disregard them, but they are mostly illiterates. They don't know or care about whether I was a president of a Nigeria Bar Association or president of Surveyors Association, etc., as case may be. What they are after is, one, does he have the pedigree? Two, does he have the clout to govern a state like Edo State? Now, I believe that he has such, you know, because to manage an MBA, the largest MBA in Africa, I believe that he should, or he possesses such qualities. Now, coming down, let it trickle down to governance in a state like Edo State. Edo State is one of the most volatile political ecosystem in Nigeria, and you find out that the behemoths, you know, the PDP is a behemotian party, and they have come in with an incumbent governor. So any candidate is going to be struggling with incumbency, and the power of incumbency in Nigeria here is just like the power of the angel sitting in the right hand side of God. He can throw anybody from heaven and throw the person down to earth or up to hell to go and suffer. You know, that is, if you do not obey and follow instruction and do the bidding, as the case may be. So likewise, the governors operate. And you see, the governors also operate like emperors. And when you have that kind of power of incumbency, you can determine a lot of things. You can use state funds. You can use state apparatchik and power and authority, subsume the one, to fight anybody and get the person out of your way to do your bidding. So that is one thing that is going for the Obaseki and also Egodaro. Then the APC candidate is, I'm looking at their strengths and weaknesses. The APC right now, you know, APC ordinarily ought to be the party in power, if not because of the imbroglio between, or the feud between Obaseki and Adams Oshomole. APC would have been in power because Obaseki would have been an APC governor, having retained that particular seat under APC, but he defected to PDP. So that to an extent, you know, has not really weakened the APC. The APC is still very strong in Edo State. The APC has some characters that are not just dissolvable, just the way you like as it is. APC is very strong in Edo North. APC is very strong in Edo Central. And these are the two areas, even though the Edo South has more numerical strength in terms of voting strength, but these two zones combined can defeat and obliterate whatever votes that come from Edo South, as case may be. So you look at it from that particular angle, APC is still very strong. The candidate they are going to present is not going to determine whether APC will have, more powers, as it has right now. If they present the wrong candidate, that will be their own doing. Now, coming to Labour Party, the chances of Labour Party. Let me tell you, if people don't know, I'm still an obedient. The obedient movement under the Labour Congress, national and sub-regional in Edo State, is still very, very intact. Edo State has one of the strongest labor movements or the obedient movement in Nigeria. In spite of all odds, are you aware that during the presidential election, Edo State delivered, more votes for P2B than any other South state in Nigeria? In fact, P2B won Edo State. Labour Party won Edo State. In spite of the fact that APC should have control of that particular state. Labour Party won Edo State the presidential election. You check your records, you find out what I'm telling you. So that tells you that the Edo people love Labour Party. The Edo people also look at Felix Abure as one of them. Abure is from Edo State and is from Edo Central. You understand the point now? So if you look at the monthly that is there, because I've seen feelers that I'm getting from home, is that, let me tell you, that they're even happy that PDP and APC are having this distorted and distended, growth and, problems all over. That will give a vantage position for the youths of Edo to vote out APC and PDP from Edo State and enthrone a people masses-oriented, government led by Akpata, as the case may be. They narrowed it to 3 parts. They said, look at it as a case. Obaseki has the state incumbency. APC, any candidate that comes out, has the federal incumbency. The Labour Party has the masses incumbency. That is what they say is going to be at war. That the masses will engage with the state incumbency, then they engage also with the presidential and federal incumbency. Who is going to win? I have predicted that the masses of Edo State will give their vote. Let me tell you, let me finally round up, as the case may be. A man called Kenneth Maswago, the rice man, lost to Olu Akpata. The rice man is a gladiating factor, a deflecting balance, of a swing. He led PDP to APC, back to PDP, from PDP to Labour Party. In spite of Labour Party and its influence, he lost to Olumide Akpata in that particular election. And so that tells you that Edo State, Labour Party has a very, very strong whatever. OP is coming there to campaign. OP is coming to Edo to campaign. The OP mantra alone, especially when the APC is not doing well right now, will change everything, the narrative in Edo State, when campaign start by next month or thereabout, as case may be. So Labour has a very strong chance.
All right, Barrister Asim. Now, Barrister Asim has made...
You have already called the results.
I have to call the results. Barrister Asim has made a very passionate appeal for a very passionate case, that is rather, for Labour, and he speaks as an obedient. And he speaks as an obedient. So he has now divided the whole election into 3. The federal power, the state power, and the power of the people. Over to you, Susie. Yes. How do you see these whole powers playing out?
Well, he is from Edo, and he's passionate about, if you see the way he's speaking, you can see that he knows every nook and cranny of Edo. I am not from Edo, but I just want to speak on the background, because the way election is being done in Nigeria. He has mentioned some of the principalities and powers that could make election to either mar you or make you up, which is actually the power of incumbency. But I also want to believe that with the conflict and crisis and struggle within all the political parties, that is also part of liability. And not also to say that all that he has said about Obi and obedience and all of that, but things are changing. We wouldn't know since then till today we had presidential election if anything has changed. And the barrister said that Obi actually won Edo State. Yes. And then Tinubu went to Supreme Court, to the court, and Obi went to court with Atiku, and progressively from the lower court to the appeal court to the Supreme Court, and then Tinubu was actually announced. I also want to say that if not for the situation of things in Nigeria today, if the APC has fared well with the leadership of the incumbent president, what should have been of some of the issues that the barrister has raised when it comes to the obedience and Obi and all of that. So, but the conflict that is ravaging everywhere, the crunch of poverty, money and all, everything that's happening in the country as we speak, is also one part that will actually affect the APC in Edo State, which actually raised an eyebrow for, except something is done between now and the election period. And also following the incumbency, power of incumbency from the president and all of that, which I will not want to rule out, even though we have the power of incumbency by, by the state and all of that, and the power of incumbency by the people, like he has mentioned. So there's actually a structure, a substructure and a superstructure. So the superstructure happened to be the power of incumbency from the presidency. I am not encouraging the fact that incumbency should be used to win election, but we have mentioned it, not just that we have mentioned it, it has been the order of the day that incumbency has been one aspect of the polity that people use to win election. But in this Edo case, we are going to see a metamorphosis of different dimensions in politics. Whether the incumbency is going to win, whether the people are still going to, because it is actually acting for the people to win in every election, not the power of incumbency. Because naturally, it is always on the part that people should vote for the choice, for their candidate of their choice, not using incumbency to plant anybody that you wish that will represent you at the end of the day. So for me, I believe that Edo people, like he mentioned something that's very critical, which is the issue of violence. Violence is one thing I guide against when it comes to politics. Why do we need to kill our brothers? It has not started, but with the way things are happening in Edo State, it is possible, if things are not being checked, that some people will go down because of this situation that we are talking about here. And we are all brothers. Why do we even need to kill ourselves and all of that? So if we discover now with this particular conflict now, there is more arms being taken to the states, we are not I'm not saying for a fact, but by assumption, it is also possible that arms are being taken to the state, and you see people will be, because it's going to happen to Edo State that very day, and they discover that the political actors will decide to go and muzzle other people from other states for that particular responsibility.
All right. Anyway, Barrister, still on Labour Party. Yes. Less than 24 hours after Barrister Olumide Akpata emerged as candidate of the Julius Abure-led national leadership of the Labour Party for the September 21 Edo State governorship election, the Alhaji Lamidi Apapa-led faction also unveiled this candidate for the election. Correspondents report that Akpata was declared the party's candidate in a governorship primary by the Deputy Governor of Abia State, Engineer Ikechukwu Emetu, on Friday in Benin City. The immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association was declared candidate with 316 votes to defeat other aspirants. However, the Apapa-led faction of the party, in a letter dated February 22, 2024, and addressed to the national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja, submitted the names of the party's candidates and deputy governorship candidates respectively. The letter, cited by pressmen in several social media platforms, including some WhatsApp groups of Labour Party in Edo State, was signed by Alhaji Lamidi Apapa as the acting national chairman and Alhaji Saleh Lawan as the acting national secretary. He gave the names of the governorship candidate as Barrister Anderson Owadie Asemota, while his running mate is Barrister Monday Ojore Mawa. Apapa said the governorship candidate and his running mate emerged at a primary conducted on February 22, 2022 in Benin City. When contacted on the phone, Apapa confirmed the letter. He simply said, "Yes, it is true. The letter is from us." Now, Barrister Asims, when you were analyzing the Edo situation, the political parties in Edo and the inter-party crisis, emanating from the from the primaries elections, it appears that Labour Party is not left out of the crisis, as well as there is now parallel candidates from another faction. What do you have to say about this? It appears to be the same thing in all political parties, don't you think?
Of course, it's something we find out that the three political parties, major political parties in Edo State right now, they have issues, internal issues amongst themselves, or between or inside themselves. What they call inter-party and issues that they have amongst themselves. Now, talking about the Labour Party, you see, I don't know the angle from which Lamidi Apapa and his group, Arabambi and Co, are coming from. Just last year, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the highest court in the land, made a pronouncement that the recognized national body and leadership of the Labour Party is the Julius Abure-led, Labour Party, and there was wide jubilation all over the place. That was why before when the Court of Appeal was to deliver judgment on the petition by the Labour Party and P2B, Arambabi and Lamidi, they went to court. You saw the way they were humiliated, by people, but were not saved, by the hands of the security agencies. That is one fact that is recognized. Two is this: the Supreme Court also has made it clear in the case of Uba, and another particular case of Shidi, I have their citations here, made it very clear that one, and these are 2023 pronouncements, just last year, it's not up to 8 months that the Supreme Court gave this particular verdict and said that issues of party primaries, that once it comes to party primaries, they have the right to conduct their primaries in where manner they want to do it. But the only thing is that the National Working Committee is the only organ, not the state, not state committee that will conduct primaries. It's the national. The Supreme Court made the example to say, using a bank, which is a company, as for example, that if they want to choose their leaders, the state branches do not have to sit down and choose who will lead them at national. It's the national that will choose who will become MD of the bank, etc., and now inform the state. So the National Working Committee of all political parties are the ones duly, empowered, by the law, the Electoral Act, and the constitution of their party to conduct primaries, or any other person or body the National Working Committee delegates, that particular power to. Those are the people that have the right. So if Julius Abure, being the national chairman, and his executives and the rest, setting up an electoral committee, which is the National Working Committee, setting up that electoral committee, I don't know where Papa got his own committee from. I don't know where he got people that came to do their own parallel primaries. Let me not even, jump into the arena. I think because we settled this, or the time we settled this, to know whether it was the national that conducted Papa's parallel primaries, or national that conducted Abure's primaries that brought Olu Akpata. But the Supreme Court has made it very clear in those cases I mentioned. And the Supreme Court also made it clear. Because, like I said the last time here, people just think that once you call people, you just go to Aba Road, go and get INEC rep to come and witness your primaries. Then you come out with a candidate and say, it's your candidate. The Supreme Court said no. Even as it is, when they are talking about the commission, he is the chairman of the commission and the 12 national commissioners. Those are people referred to as the commission. The resident electoral commissioners in the state, CTC, they are not part of the commission. The commission delegates powers to these people. So if any reg should leave his seat
in a bar road and go to one place to go and witness primaries. I come and sit back and say as witness primaries without the authority of the national body, that is the INEC national, is in vain. Supreme Court has made it very clear. So you must get that particular permission, and the political party must give you that particular send people to us come and witness. These are the procedures left. Now, as the case is in this Labour Party matter now, where Apapa, Shaibu, and even all of them are trying to raise eyebrow to say they want to challenge, is because of the leeway given to them by Section 18, Sub 14 of the Electoral Act, which hitherto was not there. In the old Electoral Act, once the party have done their primaries and the chairman says, this is our candidate, he becomes who becomes the candidate. Nobody can challenge it, even in court. They can even substitute at the last minute and say, you have failed us, we bring another person to come and represent us in the party. But Section 84, Sub 14 has cured that lacuna, as the case may be, and that mischief. To now say that it's a very narrow way the court has to interpret that. The court said that, yes, that the party has the right to choose who to represent them in any position through their primaries. But they have to follow due process, 1, the party constitution 2, and the electoral guidelines of the Electoral Act. These are the 3 things, and the constitution. That if you go outside of that particular constitution and not these 4 things listed, then a candidate can raise a complaint and even approach the court to do what now nullify that particular a primary. But the Supreme Court also went further to say that a candidate cannot just wake up in the morning having felt that he was being taken out of the primaries. He just run to the Federal High Court to go and begin to make cases to stop this, stop that. No, that you must present your case to the internal appeal system of the political party. So like the other man is talking now, he has to present his case to the appeal committee set up by Labour Party for them to decide. It is only when it goes against your favor and you are not satisfied with the appeal committee of your party that you can now approach the Federal High Court under Section 84, Sub 14. That is what the Electoral Act is talking about. Okay. So if you look at this Labour Party issue now, I don't know where what's his name, Apapa is going to come from. It's going to be very difficult. He just wants to distract, what is happening in that particular political party, as the case may be. The National Working Committee is the one we recognize. I don't want to jump to the arena, but that is clearly, I'm thinking of what the law says, pertaining to all of all these things.
Okay. Susie, do you think is going to be an era of litigation, between APC, PDP, Labour Party, with all these parallel candidates coming up and other candidates rejecting the emergence of, their opponents? Do you think it's going to be the era of litigation, and how is this going to affect elections in those states?
You actually putting that in my mouth. You took that out of my mouth too. Like the barrister has said something here. We talked about quoted all the sections and even the provision by the Supreme Court and Electoral Act and the Supreme Court judgments against Apapa and all of that. We all are aware of what actually happened as at that time when he went to court and was bullied and wood and all of that. But like the question you raised, yes, I have always thought that when I read all this, I begin to say that the court is going to have so much responsibility to deliver in this mandate because it's a burden. And then these are things we ought to have settled within our parties. Okay. Instead of going to court and all of that, because it's going to take more money from the party, it's going to take more time, it's going to take more energy, and like in your conclusion, you said something about distraction. Because when are we going to have time to kind of campaign for our candidate, market our manifestos, and sell out what we have to sell to the people for us to be voted for? Because of this particular situation that we find ourselves, all the parties are in this particular situation now. Now we are talking about the one in Labour Party. We looked at person of Olumide Apata as somebody who already have, like Barrister said, who already have the people at hand, which is supposed to give him that particular opportunity to win. But where you have this particular situation, like the Apapa group, I don't know what it is that they want to do with this whole thing. Because I believe everybody have rights to
Could it be a function of interest?
It's just the same interest. But the issue here is that whose interests is anybody like Apapa and all of this protecting? You understand what I'm saying? Somebody asked a question yesterday. If Apapa in this other way is coming again after Supreme Court has ruled against him, okay, who is he protecting? Why is he always fighting on this particular premise? They say it is actually a distraction to the party. Is it actually distracting the party, or is it anything that he has not told us that he needs to tell us now about him fighting tooth and nail all the time in Labour Party? Okay. That's the situation. So it will end in court. And we do not also know if the Supreme Court is going to rule against Apapa this time around, or they are going to rule against those that will take Apapa to court, because automatically the court has so much responsibility to deliver on this particular case.
Especially in Edo State.
Especially in Edo State. I don't understand.
Okay, Barrister Sims, let me come to you, still on Apapa-led faction. Do you think that since the court has recognized the Abure faction as the authentic leadership in Edo State, now, after the elections, Apapa is coming up with his own parallel candidate. Do you think, does this qualify, because you're a party man, you're a Labour Party man, does this qualify as anti-party activities? If yes, what can be done?
You see, the problem we have is that the Labour Party right now, as it is, its energy has been yanked off. You know, it's just like a generator in the house. It can't work, it's not powering the house, you cannot see. You have a gem, but you're in the dark, as the case may be. Now, what I'm asking is this. P2B, which was the arrowhead of that political party, made a lot of obedience, you know, they just lay back right now, the case may be. But Labour Party has their own internecine, wars that they are fighting. And at the end of the day, I don't think Apapa will achieve much. I feel that it is the same rambling and short walking that he has been doing before now, that we constantly continue. And I am very happy because elections are coming up September 10th this year. Now, if anybody wants to go to court, if you have to appeal first of all you have to go through the gamut of the appeal system in your political party, and you have 14 days thereafter to now appeal, go to court to seek whatever you want to do. I believe that the court should speed up the process. It shouldn't be like that of the River State issue in 2019.
I was coming to that.
It shouldn't be like that kind of issue where matters were before the court, but the court did not rule on those matters until when it was some days to the election. They now ruled, and you find out that the Magnus Abe faction who took Amechi's faction to court, the two of them were now disqualified and said all primaries have been nullified. Nobody will present any candidate. And APC did not present candidate in that particular election. As the case may be, that was why Toyeko in that first instance was not it was not on the ballot paper, because there was a court order. Before they could go on appeal, election had gone. So the subject matter had been destroyed, as the case may be. So the only appeal we give to courts now is that anybody that goes to court in the next 14 days or thereabout, the court should speed up process. These are very easy matters that the court will just look at and just examine and throw away. That is, the Supreme Court has a litany. Even as at last year, like I stated, there are two clear cases have been on these particular issues. So, will you override the Supreme Court by your judgment at the lower court? What you just look at is to, strike out those particular matters that are coming. Let them rush to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court. Before 2 months or thereabout, if these issues are cleared, they let the real candidates now concentrate and campaign, for their election. But certainly, is going to be a very big distraction. Because a candidate that is campaigning will say, I'm not really sure, I don't know. Because right now, I'm saying this because the courts in Nigeria today, I'm a lawyer, but you see, the integrity of the judiciary has been traumatic. It has been lobotomized. I don't know, we are bleeding, we are hemorrhaging, because the masses do not have faith. Nigerians don't have faith again in the judiciary. So I hope that they can use this to redeem their image, so that come out a matter the Supreme Court has made pronouncement on and is coming before you, while listening to the whole procedural gamut to call it or do whatever the case may be. You just make your whatever known and say, we cannot even go because Supreme Court has already said this is the situation. You can go to court for appeal, you strike it out for them to move on as well. But it's a big distraction. And that's what Akpata wants to achieve. He knows he will not achieve anything. That is the situation I think is happening in Edo State. He knows he will not achieve anything just to distract them. And that will make him very glad.
But could tentatively, is there possibility of even the political parties that are not fully recognized, like the NMP, you know, is there possibility, because they also have a candidate, a female candidate who has emerged as
in other political parties?
Yes.
Of course, they have opportunities.
What I'm saying, with all the distractions going on between APC, PDP, and Labour Party, is there a possibility that when the time for election comes, they are still bickering and fighting and give way to parties like NMPP to come up? Susie, do you think
even
that
like
can happen?
The mega parties that we have, like Labour Party, APC, and PDP, even with the crisis within the party, this other party will not even be able to match them. That is it. They won't be able to match them. When we were reading out this thing from the premise here, we talked about the issue of incumbency from up to the bottom and all of that, the popularity of the candidates and all of that. The people you are talking about now, do they have a candidate that is as popular as this group of people that we have mentioned? And then do they also have the structure, the structure, the Titanic, you know, that's the followership that these particular parties, apart from the fact that there is divisibility in the party. And I don't also want to draw conclusion that, because the court is a place of remedy, that at the end of the day, there may never be anything like a reconciliation and all of that, even as we speak. Apart from going to courts by Apapas and co, I also want to suggest, like he was appealing to the court to speedy the whole judgment, because automatically, suppose the case goes to court. Yes. He's talking about speedy dispensation of justice and all of that. I also want to say that there should be an alternative dispute resolution, even within this period, where we could go to one another and, you know, a kind of
a tribunal.
Go to one another and reconcile these things. You understand? Exactly. You know, just let go of your ego, and reconciliation is very important. It just everybody who is fighting like a papa is fighting, there is something that is holding him to this fight. So if we could reach out to people like this, or even a papa himself could also reach out to the other person, there is always going to be an agreement at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it is actually the party that we are talking about, taking position in the state. Not even the individual, not even the apapa, not even the other group. You understand? So it is the party. So what is it going to pay us that our party is going to lose because of my own interests? The general interest of the party is very, very important. You understand? So except anybody is telling me that the reason for this fight is just to make sure that Labour Party does not exist in anywhere, anytime, for whatsoever reason. You understand? But if it is to win election in Edo, and I'm a member of a Labour Party, why do I need to make sure that my party does not win, except it is me? So if they now look at the two candidates, because of the party, the candidate can also receive that popularity and all of that. But if you look at the two candidates, I may not really know them. They also have their own popularity relatively to an extent. But it should be for the party to win the election and not to fight dirty to make sure that the party lost the election. Because he referenced the issue of Magnus Abe and the APC and all of that to equal. It was very pathetic and heartbroken when these people could not even produce candidates. As I then, I was still a member of APC. We had the one on radio coming to this Atlantic TV talking and shouting and all of that. The national could not even do anything. They allowed the whole thing. The other ruling party in the state, which is the PD, took advantage of that, and the result was a masterpiece. APC could not produce a candidate. Are you getting it? So, to this extent, I want to say that the Labour Party should learn from the experience of other people and make sure that they remedy this thing before it goes sour.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, the senator representing Edo Central Senatorial District, Monday Okpebholo, has emerged the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress at the rescheduled party's primary election in Edo State on Friday. Recall that the trio of Senator Okpebholo, Honorable Denis Idahosa, and Honorable Anemero Dekeri had last week laid claim to the party's governorship ticket following a controversial exercise, a development that created division among the National Working Committee members of the APC and the Governor Hope Uzodinma, the erstwhile chairman of the party's electoral panel for the state. Uzodinma had declared Idahosa as the winner, while the returning officer, Dr. Stanley Ubaja, declared Okpebolo as winner at another location. Also, another group of electoral officials declared Dekeri as the winner of the primary election. But days after, the national leadership of APC declared the initial exercise as inconclusive and fixed Thursday, February 22, 2024 for the completion of the exercise. It later appointed the governor of Cross River State, Basi Otu, as the chairman of the APC primary election committee to complete the assignment. Meanwhile, announcing the final results on Friday in Benin City after collating results from the 18 local government areas of the state, Governor Otu said Senator Okpebolo polled 12,433 votes to defeat 11 other aspirants who contested the direct primary election. Now, even in the follow-up of that, Idahosa has also come out to say that it was not an election that happened, but a selection. So now, Okpebolo has finally emerged as the governorship candidate in APC. How do you see the emergence of Okpebolo? Don't forget that Idahosa is not happy. He's not really accepting this. He says it's not an election, it's a selection. So I want you to bear that in mind as you're giving your feelers on the emergence of Okpebolo.
Thank you very much. For me, there's a crisis in APC. I think if we had a thermometer or barometer to measure the heaviness of crisis in these three parties, APC's crisis is will be heavier than the other political parties. The reasons are not far-fetched. Now, I stated here before that the National Working Committee of all political parties are the ones that are empowered by the Electoral Act, their constitution, and even extant laws to conduct, primaries in their various parties. Therefore, in APC, the National Working Committee delegated their powers to Governor Hope Uzodinma to go and conduct the Edo primaries. And that was what most people followed till hours after the primaries was conducted. We started hearing that Hope Uzodinma has declared, and his committee has declared, Dennis Idahosa, who is a member of the House of Reps, as the chosen, candidate for APC. Before they break the following day, we heard again that another Dekeri, has come into the race as the winner of the primaries. Then Okpebolo now came in. From what I got, Okpebolo is from Edo Central. He's a senator, sitting senator right now. And among the three, according to people who I spoke to in Edo, they said he is the most popular, and he is the one that the masses or the supporters or APC members, yes, wanted to be in government or to be their candidate. But Oshomole, didn't support Okpebolo, so he has to go for Dennis Idahosa. Why he chose him over Okpebolo and the rest of them, I wouldn't say, I can't say. At the end of the day, there's confusion in APC. Now, while this was going on, I heard again that whether it's the national party or the president that ordered that the election that was conducted by the Hope Uzodinma committee is inconclusive. I don't know what that inconclusiveness, mean as the case may be, because in Nigeria here, terminologies, political jargons are brought into the firmament just the way they like.
Now you say inconclusive. An election which result has already been declared and a winner has emerged by the what is it called, the Opus Odima, whatever. You went back to Abuja and say the election is inconclusive. Now, when the election has been, done, and candidate returned as the winner, then you now go back to say the election is inconclusive. It's just like INEC declaring, Mr. A as governor of a state. Then the president will now say, no, you cannot do that. That election was inconclusive. Go and do that election. Does the hierarchy, does the chairman of APC or the president, Tinubu, who is the leader of the party or the leader of the party, have that sacrosanctity of powers, to declare an election that has already been concluded inconclusive and ask that, that election should be redone? These are the things this is the conundrum APC is posing in Edo State. And I don't know how they are going to, resolve this. You see, APC in Edo State, since for the past 3 years, it's just like what Albert, Camus, a great, French philosopher, used as an analogy of, Sisyphus, that mythological god in Greek in those days, who had to take the boulder up the mountain, meaningless work. Immediately the boulder, it takes that boulder up the mountain, the boulder will roll down again. Then he continued on the same journey for infinity and eternity. It now became a problem. Why is APC always having this up and down, whatever problem, and the Sisyphean, syndrome, as they call it? Why do they always have it? This is a question I've asked. That even in the national, in Edo politics, the last problems that happened, the same problems happened in Edo State before Oshomole had to create problems and people ran away. Let me tell you that even this morning, the report I got from a close ally of Oshomole is that he told his supporters that, well, if they say it's Okpebolo that Tinubu wants, if they say it's Okpebolo that Ganduje and the rest of them want, that they should come to Edo State and do the voting in Edo State and let them see how Okpebolo will win that particular election. I was wondering, I asked my friend, I said, why would they make this kind of statement? So which means they have not even given up. They still feel that Dennis Nausa is the rightful candidate of APC in Edo State for that particular state. So there's problem in APC. In APC, Dennis will go to court. Already as I speak, Dennis has approached the committee, the appeal committee of APC, which is a prelude to his going to court. Because in one of the conditions I gave that Supreme Court laid down is that once you are aggrieved as a candidate in your party, what you have to first of all do is that exhaust the internal peace mechanisms of trying to reconcile, trying to mediate and whatever. It is only when you have finished that reconciliation that you can now approach the Federal High Court, any court at all, to file a full-blown suit. So if Dennis has already approached, the appeal committee, it means that he is preparing to go to court, because the appeal committee will not overrule, the chairman of the party and the leader of the party, which is President Bola Tinubu. So we are going to see a situation where APC might be in trouble, and I hope that the reverse situation will not happen here. Because if they go to court and we have this kind of whatever, that the court will determine whether an election that has been concluded by an empowered National Working Committee of Opus Odima, witnessed by delegates from INEC, etc., as case may be, ratified by that particular body, then 24 hours after, you now by mandate and proclamation, and I say that particular election is null and void, is inconclusive. I don't know. The court will determine all these things. And it's not yet to huru for APC. That's what I'm saying in Edo State. And I pray that the judiciary, my own jurisdiction, will do justice to this needful. That is just what I'm praying for. I just hope that they can do justice to this whole thing. Edo State is on fire.
All right. Let's go to Benue State. The Benue State government has ordered the 3 recently sacked local government council caretaker chairman of Ukum, Boko, and Katsina Allah to vacate their offices with immediate effect. The directive followed claims by two of the sacked council chairmen that they had not received official communication from the state government about their sack. Recall that Governor Hyacinth Alia had on Tuesday, February 19, 2024, sent an executive communication to the Benue State House of Assembly requesting the sack and replacement of Tavashima Abe of Boko local government, Pastor Gideon Hanongon of Ukum, and Francis Zanzan of Castina Ala local government council for alleged misconduct and misappropriation of council funds. The trio in the communication were immediately replaced by Velumon Ava for Boko local government council, Victor Loza Ukum local government council, and Justin Shaku for Castina Ala local government council, who were cleared by the assembly. However, following insistence by two of the chairmen that they were still in charge of their councils, the special advisor to the governor of Bureau for local government and chieftaincy affairs, Dr. Dennis Akura, affirmed their sack by the governor and ordered that they immediately hand over to the next in line, who are their deputies. Now, Susie, the issue between the local government council chairman and Governor Alia of Benue State has been going on, and to a large extent, even stakeholders have come out to urge the governor to conduct local government elections and not transition chairmen, put transition chairmen in place and keep changing them every three months. Now, apparently, two council chairmen who have been sacked have refused to vacate their office, and it appears to be ongoing right now in Benue State. What do you have to say to that?
Well, we are talking about constitutional democracy, and I think the constitution is very sacrosanct when it comes to the issue of local governments and all of that. Section 7, subsection 1 of it is one area that when you read it, you discover that the governors, however, even the caveat to that particular section say that all governments of the state should make sure on the existence of local government, elected local government chairmen in their local governments and all of that. So sacking the local government chairman is actually unconstitutional. It is not just for the people to call for the local government chairman to be reinstated. The action taken ab initio is actually an error in itself. Therefore, I think the call is in the right place, that the governor should do what is right to make sure that these local government people, chairmen, are being reinstated and short. In fact, election will be conducted whatsoever. It is not for him to sack even those that are already.
These are caretaker
chairman. So he does not even have right at the end first.
They are caretaker, they are transition councilmen. He appointed them to be on that seat.
Yes, so he does not even have right in the first place to even run caretaker chairman. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You understand? Now to talk about even sacking them and all of that. So it is an error in itself for him to have even run the state with local government caretaker chairman, because the Supreme Court is actually sacrosanct on the ruling of issue concerning caretaker. And the order given by the Supreme Court, I cannot quote it verbatim. You understand? So that is what it is. So he does not have that right to do it.
All right. Barrister Sims, you have mentioned it last time that when is election cycle, election should be conducted. Do you think these state governors are using their authority in the states to stop the autonomy of local governments?
Well, yes. You see, the Supreme Court, I will reel out 3 cases, monumental one for that matter, what we call the locus classicus in terms of local government autonomy. And Justice Ejembi Eko, Justice Adamu Jairo, Justice Samuel Walter Okano on Norwegian, Justice Kekere Ekun. These are, mortals who have the paraphernalia of legal immortality. We regard people like Onoegen, Kekere Ekun, Ejembi Eko, Wizu, late Justice, as people like the sagacious legal, icon Lord Denning. They have variously, severally, copiously, studiously posited in their leading judgments in all the matters that were brought before them on issues of local government autonomy. First of all was in 2015. I'm just trying to bring out refresh our memories from most recent. Masari did a similar thing, sacked local government chairman, 33 of them or thereabouts. Supreme Court, I went to say, no, you cannot do that. In fact, their tenure has expired, you have to pay them their emoluments, their salaries, even though their tenure has expired, while this matter was in Supreme Court. Abia State had their own, the same. Supreme Court stood its ground like the Rock of Gibraltar. Then you now had that of Oyo State, which came in 2019. Supreme Court told Makinde that you cannot do this. In that particular Makinde's case, Justice Adamu Jairo, reading his late judgment, said that the actions of the governor or any governor at all sacking elected local government chairmen is not only contemptuous, but amounts to executive lawlessness. That means that all actions taken by the governor, contempt of court, if not because of the immunity clause, a governor could be prosecuted for not obeying court orders by virtue of Section 287 of the 1999 Constitution. Then, it now went for that. The argument of one of their lawyers was hinged on this Section 7, Sub 1, where a lot of people have misconstrued, things that have happened, and say, yes, if the governing constitution say government, it means that the government can make laws for them, and say no. He said, system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is under this constitution guaranteed. And accordingly, the government of every state shall, subject to Section 8 of this constitution, ensure it does not mean you make laws. It says to ensure. When I say ensure your child goes to school, you take him to school on a daily basis. You might not be the one paying the school fees, but you wake him up and say, go to school, go to school. Do you understand the point now? Your daughter is hungry. You are not the one that made the food. Say, hope you are eating. You are ensuring that it's moving up. That's what this thing. The existence under a law which provides for the establishment, structure, composition, finance, and functions. That is, you now come. The Supreme Court now gave flesh and life to the interpretation of this particular Section 7.1. He now says that what is not expressly put or imputed in the Constitution cannot be imputed by fiat or by error. So when you assume that this is what Supreme Court is saying, this is what the Constitution is saying, Supreme Court says, no, you cannot guess. It's not the guesswork. That if the Constitution wanted executive, the legislature to even remove and appoint, he would have stated it here that they have the powers to appoint and remove. But it was not stated. It only said that ensure their existence under a law which provides for the establishment, structure, composition, finance, and function. But all of what is known is stated that you can sack a local government. And in that particular Ekiti State, issue, because lawyers, so unfortunately, senior advocates were hammering on this issue that is the right, governors have the right to do that. Supreme Court got very angry in the latest Ekiti case that came before them, which is just about 2 years or thereabout old. And I said that, let me tell you, that the local government, yes, the local governments, the House of Assembly of a state is to make laws that guide local government and their function, etc. as case may be. But the laws to be made is not the laws to remove, set up critical committee. That any law that is outside of what the Constitution has stated is to that extent null and void and ultra-virus. And cited Section 32, Sub 1 of the Ekiti local government laws and acts. I mean, the law that was passed in Ekiti that gave the governor powers to do what now? In the new local government, that particular law is null and void. And the governor acted on Travares. And the Supreme Court now said, why is that law? Like in Rivers State now, I heard they amend the local government, whatever. You can amend. But you cannot amend to say the city government can by fiat or communication remove a local government. It's not within your powers. Supreme Court has said so. And Supreme Court now said that you are to ensure that as governor you swore to protect the constitution and not to supplant the constitution. I'm putting Adamu Jairo now. And based on that, you do not have that power. That finally, by virtue of section 1 sub 3 and by virtue of section 5 of the 1999 constitution, every law that is inconsistent with what the constitution says is null and void. Section 5 says that if a national assembly, House of Assembly makes a law like the one made in Benue State, giving the governor power to remove the local government, whatever, and by way of communication to remove them, that Section 5 has voided that particular law by virtue of its constituency with Section 7, Sub 1 and 8 of the Constitution. Supreme Court has said this. It becomes law. But the headiness, the obduracy, the gerrymandering, and the purposeful dismembering and butchering of our Constitution has become a thing that is worrisome to lawyers. And I hope that governors, I don't know why they want to take the soul of local government. If you elect, the Supreme Court say those who elected them are those who take them out. They have council. You know, local government has legislative council. They can sit down and impeach the chairman, just the same way the House of Assembly can impeach the governor, the same way the National Assembly can impeach the president. Why do you want to impeach the other person, whereas we were voted into power by the people? So that is the problem. It's a sorry sight. I've done lecture seminars on this all over the country. I was in Taraba to address them. We had Argon invited. We did a 10 paper on this. But in spite of this, even those days when they asked a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, the fact that the deputy governor attended now said, that is just grammar you are talking. That when we want to remove them, we'll remove them. I just walked past the man, and people started laughing. But that is constitution. So it's an aberration. So that is why I raise this matter.
Now, Susie, don't you think that with the drama going on between state governors and local government council chairmen, don't you think that the federal government has a role to play in stemming the tide of this unconstitutional removal of council chairmen? For example, if a state governor removes an elected council chairman and replaces him with a transition chairman or a caretaker chairman, as the case may be, why can't the federal government stop? Because the local governments receive their allocations currently directly from the federal government. Why can't the federal government stop paying allocation to local government councils that have caretaker chairmen instead of elected chairmen? Don't you think if the federal government stops paying allocations to these local government councils, nobody will want to come in as a caretaker chairman because you don't have funds to implement whatever it is you need to do?
I think that the question you raised, what you just mentioned now, is whether it has started playing out in one of the states close to River State here.
Has it started playing out already?
Whether it has started playing out in Bayelsa and all of that, that is, it's actually a responsibility to the federal government to make sure that it happened that way, so that will actually curb this incessant kind of sacking of local government and installing your whatever spare tires, this thing, just to make sure that you embezzle the money from the local government and all of that. Local government have a responsibility, the way it was established, and then the governors of the state over time has always gone contrary to what this particular institution or arm of government was actually established for the quest of commercial profit. Why do you want to remove an elected local government chairman or even install he has mentioned that particular place even when the Supreme Court actually ruled. The Supreme Court is also one aspect or a method of lawmaking whenever they rule, like he has mentioned locus classicus. And the moment it comes to that level, everybody, including me, has to adhere to that particular fact. But you see, we are running the system via whether we understand what it is, the implication. That is the reason why sometimes I want to say that in Africa, if not for constitution and over-religiosity, I would have advised that we run our politics using the African traditional religion. You understand? Such that the moment you agree in one thing, you don't go contrary to it. You will actually do it. If you don't do it, it's either you die or your family is wiped out on the face of the earth. But because the constitution does not have that particular force, they will still see it as a grace-making kind of policy where you need to steal romance and, talk to somebody, beg and all of that. So the federal government, like you have mentioned, I have always thought should have this responsibility, because these are executives from the federal to the state to the local government chairman. Suppose the federal government also sack a state government, what would that be? I'm beginning to even look at it from the angle of the law. Which part of the law should we hinge our argument to make sure that, apart from the provisions of the constitution that is the way it is, that what he mentioned, and the rulings by the Supreme Court and all of that, which is the local classical, which aspect of the law should we also implement to make sure that this particular state governors does not even have hand in what concerns the local government? Because, they do this joint account and all of that. The federal government has also talked about the issue of increment and all of that. But the state government, some of them are not even implementing it. They are not allowing the local government to implement. Are you getting it? Just of recent, now the state governor in Rivers State asked the local government to actually add up to the minimum wage of the state, the wage awards and all of that. This thing has been there over time. The federal government actually announced it. It did not happen. Okay? These are some of the contradictions we have seen over time. So to this end, I want to say that the federal government, as the superstructure of the state, should make sure that the governors of the state are cautioned beyond even them seeing what the law has said and flip their eye off it and still go ahead to contradict themselves. Even creating the contempt as against what the constitution has said, even what the Supreme Court has ruled, they still go ahead to do what they are doing. It's uncalled for.
Do you think the bullheadedness by these governors to adhere to the law, do you think it is coming from a place of seeking to control the states and the local government and awarding positions of council chairmen to people who actually worked for them during elections?
Yeah, it's also a point to be raised, but I wouldn't know for a certain if that is actually the case. But I believe that everybody just want to have the fair share of the state, because you are not going to be there for a longer period of time. So the local government is also a window where individuals, you understand, uses as a method to collect more from the state.
Okay. And
also use it to control the people as a structure in that particular state too. You understand? Mm-hmm. So what we need to do as a people is to make sure that, see, like he has said, he has gone to places for symposiums and all of you, seminars and workshops. I also want to believe that, like it is done in the Western world, electoral colleges are done where people are being educated, you understand, where people are being informed about what they need to do in time and space when it comes to politics in the state, apart from the voting and all of that. But I also want to believe that political actors in the state should also be re-engineered, like I will always mention, and be informed on what it means to be a leader in the state, to be a local government chairman or a governor, even a president, such that you know that you are running this process with the law. You don't run it by just a mere assumption. You're running with the law. So if you look at the law is like a mirror. Every action you are taking, you are seeing yourself like I'm looking at myself on the television. And that's the reason why we have Sister Mary, this blindfolded person in this law symbol. Okay. You understand? It doesn't see you. John Ross will always want to tell you by the veil of ignorance that the law does not understand what it is until you convince the law, and then interpretation is given on your favor or against you at a particular point in time. So people should not take decisions that are contrary to the constitution. If we run our state by the law, You see this conflict we see here, even in the political primaries, that we won't see them. But because people are running things because of the fact that they feel that emotion is wanting to go by. That's the reason why you see people go to primaries, and the particular political party in primary is producing 2 candidates. This is because people believe that they could still hoodwink the constitution and get a judgment at the end of the day. And they maybe, even if they don't get a judgment, but let it be that I am able to destroy what is supposed to be the reality at the end of the day.
Right. Barrister Sims, the consistent flaunting of Supreme Court judgments and the Constitution by these state governors, especially with regards to the local council chairmen and sacking them and bringing in transition chairmen, is it that the court is weak? The judiciary is not as powerful as it used to be? Or is it that the immunity that these governors are enjoying, what level, where does their immunity stop? How can this be implemented? What role does the masses have to play? Because if I voted a local government chairman and he won the election, he's sitting there on my mandate. I also voted the governor as well. Whether it was my candidate that won or not is inconsequential. What right does a sitting governor who was elected have to remove another from an elected position? What role can the masses play in this whole thing? The civil organizations, the civil society organizations as well. What role can they play to put pressure and make sure the right thing is done?
What needs to be done, because all civil nations of the world operate, through the Constitution. Some are written, some are not written. If Nigeria undergoes what I refer to as ethical, revolution and evolution, maybe we might have some of these things in right place, but that will take a long time. But the now approach that we have to do and adopt is, number one, strengthening the judiciary, because a lot of people feel that the judicature is populated by corrupt and compromised judges. So when you go there and you get a judgment, people will say, is it not judgment you bought? They will just tell you that I'm not going to obey that because I don't believe, I'll go and get my own. That is why you see, if you go around today, ex parte orders here and there, this one will say, please don't go out. The other one will come and say, please, you can sit. The other one will say, please pay them. One will say, don't pay them. So this cacophony of jaded voices and orders all over the place diminishes the pride of the judiciary and the respect people have for judiciary. That is one of the factors responsible for this disobedience and maybe non-challenge, and this apathetic approach to orders of court. Lord Derry, in one of his judgment, once said that the moment a court loses its force to enforce its order, then that court becomes like not just a toothless bulldog, but a dead lion, as the case may be. So you find that when courts give orders, and the orders of the court ought to be as sharp as razor blade, that you take it out, you get it done immediately. That's why Section 287 expressly says so, and said that you must enforce the judgment or ruling of any court in Nigeria at all. You have to obey. Even the governors who are disobeying them now, ought to put machineries in motion to do or execute court orders. That's what that particular section is talking about. But corruption and whatever in judiciary has made a lot of people look at judiciary just as not. So we have to do a sweeping change in our judiciary, so that we know exactly where we stand. Judiciary should be independent. Let governors and presidents begin to nominate who should become a CJ of state and CJN of Nigeria. No, it shouldn't be. NJC should do that independently of governors and president. Then we can move forward. The second other aspect is this. A good example is this. The Constitution, especially this local government autonomy, in every law, there's so we have various means of interpretations of laws. The golden rule, the literary rule, the mischief rule of interpretation. Then Lord Denning now came to add a fourth one called the purposive rule. What does it mean by that purposive rule? He said the purpose for which that particular law was created. Section 7 and Section 8 was created because they wanted to grant, semblance of autonomy to the local government. But the way this Section 7 and Section 8 is crafted, it leaves a lot of lacunae. So the mischief maker, where the governors are doing, they are interpreting this particular Section 8 now, with the mischief rule of interpretation of, statutes. They see it now because lawyers will go and advise them. The lawyer will say there's a loophole here. He says you can ensure, which means that gives you power to make sure that local government must be what they want to be. That's why one governor can sit and say, I increase the salary of local government workers. Let them pay them beginning from tomorrow. He doesn't even consult. The next time will say, I remove the salary. The man in a boy should go. It's no longer, he removes it just like that. Because the mischief rule of interpretation is what they're using to do what now? To now interpret Section 8 as Section 7 and Section 8. So the National Assembly has to amend Section 7 and Section 8. We have been saying this for close to a decade now. The amendment should come forth by adding, Section 1A, 1, that the power to control or to ensure the existence of local government does not include the power to remove and appoint. It becomes very clear. You understand? So there's no hiding place for them again to say, we didn't know it was going to. Say the power to remove the local government chairman or whatever as elected is not here. It's not, you can't remove, you cannot appoint. Let it be clear, because most of us who are educated and in power, when they see things that they want to interpret it, they behave as if they are illiterate. They'll say, I'm not a lawyer, so it's what my lawyer told me. Whereas, as an Englishman, if you read that, you know that it didn't give you that power. But you want to look for somebody to blame and whatever. So let them amend Section 7, Section 8. The third one, I like what my colleague here said. That is one. Even though I know that the Constitution, does not agree to that, let the president, seize the funds of any state that is doing all this, whatever with the local government appointment, whereas he knows he cannot do it. Seize the funds and allocation monthly to them. What will not happen is that the president should not seize it, so that it does not seem as is the president. The National Assembly, the lawmaking body, once a petition, they put that once a petition is done to the National Assembly to inform them that Benue State or Edo State is sacking or whatever the case may be, that petitioner, that they should not pay their allocation for that month of February. Okay. You understand the point now? Yes, you see that it becomes law, they will run away from it.
Thank you
so much. That is the issue.
Thank you so much, Barrister Singh, for
coming
on Open Earth.
Yes, God bless you.
Pleasure having you.
Yes, pleasure too every time.
Thank you so much, Susie. It's a
You're happy today now.
Yes, I am.
You're okay now.
This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Do not forget you can stay connected to us on all Atlantic Television Network socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. Other programs comes up shortly. I am Ugu Laurentia Choma. Have a nice day.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said $50,000 is 1,000 to collect $3,000. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people. All of us.
Leaders